SBF was a regular visitor to the White House. Now we heard this before, but now we have the receipts, we have the proof that he was actually visiting the White House. You know, they concocted a story behind the reason to why he was really there, but we know why he was really there. He was there because he was the second biggest donor to the Democrat Party, and he needed more help with his money laundering scheme, and that's why he was really at the White House, what I believe. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store where I have I Will Not Comply t-shirts. So check that out as well. All right, let's talk about this news. Well, this is a twist that shouldn't surprise anyone, and perhaps a clue as to why Sam Bankman-Fried and company have gotten kid glove treatment by the media. It turns out the SBF visited the White House 4 times last year, meeting with White House Deputy Chief of Staff Bruce Reed and Counselor to the President Steve Ricchetti each time. Ricchetti and Reed are 2 of the most powerful political operatives in the White House, with offices near the Oval. Only Ron Klain holds a higher position in the executive branch, and these 2 see the president far more often than Kamala Harris or nearly anybody else. Ricchetti was the chairman of Biden's 2020 campaign, and Reed was his chief of staff when Biden was vice president. In other words, SBF went straight to the top and was welcomed with open arms, as was his brother, who visited the White House 2 times last year. Now, Karine Jean-Pierre, though, assured us that these meetings had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that SBF was pouring tens of millions of dollars into the coffers of Democrat candidates and super PACs. Instead, the men were planning how to save America from bugs. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So, I mean, no one believes this lie. I mean, you can't believe this lie. White House records recently made public have revealed that disgraced FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried met with senior Biden administration officials in the White House on 4 occasions over the course of 2022, including a just disclosed visit on September 9th. When pressed on the subject during a press conference on Tuesday, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre insisted all the meetings between White House officials officials and the fallen crypto mogul focused primarily on Bankman-Fried's nonprofit Pandemic Preparedness Initiative. She also, however, stated that the conversations may have also panned to general information regarding the cryptocurrency industry and crypto exchanges. Yeah, general information. That is so much crap. It's good to know that the country is in the very best of hands when it comes to pandemic prevention. A crypto fraud and 2 connected political operatives should be meeting regularly to plot out how best to prevent the emergence of new and dangerous microbes during an election year. And the crypto dude's brother should pop in every once in a while to chat up these fellows to ensure things stay on track. They couldn't do worse than Dr. Anthony Fauci and company after all. Bankman-Fried met on multiple occasions with Steve Ricchetti and Bruce Reed, 2 of the president's senior most advisors. Both officials occupy offices just steps of the Oval Office, like I alluded to earlier. And while most of the meetings took place in the spring, records released at the end of December revealed that Bankman-Fried returned to the White House for a 4th meeting in September, just weeks before the crypto mogul's $32 billion empire collapsed in historic fashion. So I wonder what he was asking him for. He knew it was collapsing. In the early fall, at the time of Bankman-Fried's final visit to the White House, the then billionaire was lobbying lawmakers to pass a Digital Commodities Consumer Protection Act, DCCPA, a framework for crypto regulation that, while potentially devastating to some sectors of the crypto industry, would have treated centralized exchanges like FTX much more favorably, of course. And why would anybody think that the White House top political operatives would be discussing a quid pro quo with crypto scammer SBF weeks before the midterm elections, when the much more obvious explanation is that all of these altruistic men, SBF after all was a great proponent of effective altruism. We are constantly told by the MSM were plotting how to save civilization itself from random viruses over which they have precisely zero control over. Zero, none. Pandemics don't care whether it is an election year or what legislation is before Congress, so matters such as obvious conflict of interest should be shoved aside in order to ensure the safety of the country. I suspect the impetus for the meeting was panic over the impeding retirement of Anthony Fauci, who did such a bang-up job preventing the COVID pandemic and managing it. Perhaps Ricchetti and Reed were interviewing him for the position of NIAID director. It would make sense. Knowing how to commit fraud and lie convincingly appear to be important skills for the position. Karine Jean-Pierre was very open and upfront about the relationship between the White House, the president, and SBF, given the effective altruist fall from grace. She was asked what the president would do about the zillions in political donations from SBF that helped Biden win the White House. Multiple politicians have since returned those donations or donated equivalent amount to charity. Press Secretary Jean-Pierre, however, has refused to comment regarding whether the president will return any donations made by Bankman-Fried or thinks any other Democrat politician should. And on Tuesday, Jean-Pierre doubled down on that refusal. Quote, "I don't have anything to share," she said. Of course not. She is too busy preparing for the next pandemic. I mean, this is ridiculous. No one believes this nonsense that's coming from the White House. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out DeMarcRepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.